is the Business Breakfast on the UAE's #1 talk radio station.
Dubai Eye 103.8.
Right, amid a record-breaking surge in Emirati private sector employment, up, get this, 192.5% by the end of last year. A new guidebook is all set to be released by TASC. TASC are of course renowned here in the region as being one of the best-known recruitment outsourcing process organisations, here to simplify the process. A staffing and managed services company with a great reputation here in the Middle East. The new guidebook, in collaboration with the MOHRE, sheds light on what's working and the critical gaps that still need to be addressed to fully realise the nation's ambitious Emiratisation's goals. It's called Making Emiratisation a Success 2025. Presents a very human and data-driven view of the current talent landscape based on the responses from over 2,000 Emirati job seekers and employees, but also taking into effect and account the private sector employers as well. Let's find out why this matters to the community as a whole. Why the founder and the CEO of TASC Outsourcing is, of course, Mahesh Shahdadpuri, who's been kind enough to join us live this morning in studio. Mahesh, really appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me, Tom. It's good to be back after about 8-9 years.
It was good to see that you have grown significantly as an organisation in that time as well. I mean, you must be very proud of where you've come from those early origins to where you are now.
Well, I think my mother and dad are probably more proud than me, but we're trying to do our bit. The leadership is amazing here. Helps. I think one of the key things for growth for everybody in this country is where we are based. Dubai is a great city. The UAE is fantastic. The leadership is great in its support for our growth.
And growth that we've seen in the job market, now more so through Emiratisation. I don't like to use the word quotas. It doesn't seem fair in a job market like this, but it has put pressure on a number of employees to honour their responsibilities when it comes to Emiratisation. Your latest guide makes for some interesting reading towards that. Again, the title, Making Emiratisation a Success 2025. Let's look at some of these key findings from your latest research. 53% of Emirati job seekers remain in fully on-site roles. What's this tell us about what Emiratis are looking for from their jobs?
Well, I would like to say that we are in a community where, it is best if the private sector comes together, which it has actually. The number of Emiratis in the private sector have increased hugely from last year. As of Jan 2025, 131,883 UAE nationals are employed in the private sector. I think the government has really supported through NAFIS. I would encourage the private sector companies to explore that. They support in not only salary, but upskilling and child allowance and all kinds of things. But the reason this has been so successful is that the private sector has come forward and employed the Emiratis. I think the challenge going forward continues to remain that how does one retain Emiratis in the jobs? I think that's a continuous challenge. I think there's so much demand for jobs chasing fewer Emiratis that I think the private sector has to go deeper. So what we have found in our survey, a few things I would list out. Of course, salary is top of mind for everybody in a job, but the sense of meaning and purpose, really to build upon that. Why are we there? What are we there to do? What is our purpose in the company? How are we impacting whatever job they are doing? I think that has to be talked about more. We find that is missing. More cultural integration of the Emirati workforce with the expat workforce. We have, with the guidebook is being released tomorrow, but we have all the data. Things like career advancement and career planning. Are you really interested in my career, and does it align with my goals? And finally, and there are a few things more, but finally, a sense of Do you understand my culture? There's a lot of, the Emiratis are a lot about family and location, and do you understand what is important to me? So I think a deeper understanding, I'm not saying it's not there, but a deeper understanding would further this amazing partnership between the private and public sector.
Going to that point that we made a little earlier on in terms of inclusion and that evolving relationship between Emirati talents and the private sector firms, what's inclusion look like in your mind's eye in terms of practice, not just, as I said, a box to be ticked and policy?
Well, if I can speak very openly, it is not to differentiate at all for a job to be done, whether it's an Emirati or an expat. I think the sense of energy, commitment, drive, and the need or the want to make an effort is there. I think the belief from the private sector that there is no difference, we will place the job at the same level for the expat or the Emirati. I think that's the first sense of inclusion. I think the difference in the mind has to be taken out, and probably give an opportunity in the right way, and have them perform to the highest levels, challenge them.
Lots of positivity coming out of your report, which I like, lots of positive sentiment. But equally, you know, you're honest about it and you see some of the challenges, some of the gaps that need to be filled as well. How long have I got left? I've got about a minute left. What's the biggest challenge, do you think, in terms of meeting the numbers and the visions at the moment?
Well, that's a great question. I think, sorry to sound philosophical here, but the biggest challenge is internal to the business owners and to the private sector to absorb the Emirati workforce as their own. And the challenge on the other side is also to look at the private sector, understand their challenges, understand the needs of the business, and to show hard work and commitment to fulfill the end goals of that business. I think it's very mutual. The government is there to support, and we look forward to working together.
And Tusk Outsourcing working with the government on a lot of these initiatives as well. So the Making Emiratisation a Success 2025 Guidebook will be released tomorrow at their Emiratisation Summit down at Museum of the Future. That should be very insightful indeed. Mahesh, enjoy the summit tomorrow. Really enjoyed your time this morning. Thanks so much indeed for getting up early to speak to us. Good to catch up with you.
Good to see you again.
Nice to see you. Mahesh Shahdadpuri there, the CEO, founder of Tusk Outsourcing, joining us live on the Business Breakfast this morning.
Your ARE